Hey everyone, want to know a little secret about getting better at speaking English?
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
You don't actually need those expensive classes or tutors to make real progress.
You're kidding, right? Those are like the go-to solutions everyone recommends.
I know, right? But seriously, you can actually unlock fluency from the comfort of your own home. Crazy, huh?
Okay, you've got my attention. Spill the beans. What's the secret sauce?
Well, today's deep dive is all about those practical tips and strategies, the ones you can actually use to level up your English speaking skills without ever leaving your couch.
Home-based learning, huh? I'm listening. What makes it so effective?
It's all about control, really.
Control? In what sense?
Well, you set the pace, right?
Makes sense. No pressure to keep up with the class or anything?
Exactly. And you can experiment without, the fear of judgment.
Yeah, that's a big one. Judgment-free zone. I like it.
Plus, you can create an environment that actually fits your learning style.
So it's about making English a natural part of your everyday life.
Exactly. But the question is how? Where do we even start?
The key is consistency. Weaving English into your day, not as a chore, but almost like a soundtrack to your life.
Okay, I love that analogy. It's like setting the mood for success. But how do we make that happen in real life? What does that actually look like?
One super effective technique is creating a daily speaking routine. Just 15 to 30 minutes each day can make a huge difference.
15 to 30 minutes, that sounds doable. But I'll be honest, the idea of speaking practice at home by myself feels kind of awkward. What am I supposed to do? Talk to the walls?
It might seem strange at first, but trust me, it gets easier. Start simple. Just narrate your daily activities, in English.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, so picture this. You're getting ready in the morning. Just describe what you're doing. Brushing my teeth, making coffee, that kind of thing.
Oh, I actually do that sometimes, especially when I'm trying to remember new vocabulary. It's like turning everyday tasks into these mini lessons.
Exactly. You're basically training your brain to think in English, making it a more natural, automatic process.
So it's not just about speaking practice, it's about rewiring our brains.
You got it. And speaking of rewiring, have you ever heard of the mirror technique?
The mirror technique. Yeah, I've heard of it. Always felt a bit silly though, to be honest. Have you ever used it yourself?
All the time. I used to get super nervous before presentations. And practicing in the mirror, oh man, it not only helped me get comfortable with my delivery, but I also caught some distracting habits I didn't even realize I had.
It's like having a personal coach, but the coach is you. That's pretty cool. So how does it actually work? Walk me through it.
Simple. Just stand in front of the mirror and have a conversation with yourself. Practice anything. Introducing yourself. Ordering food at a restaurant, whatever you might encounter in real life.
It's like a dress rehearsal for real-life conversations. And the best part is there's no audience to judge you, except maybe your reflection.
Exactly. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Trust me, you'll be surprised how quickly you start to feel more comfortable speaking English.
Okay, so we've got our daily speaking routine, our mirror sessions. What's next in this home-based English boot camp of ours?
Let's talk about something fun.
Ooh, fun. I like where this is going.
Media. Think movies, TV shows, YouTube videos. They're all gold mines for learning, pronunciation, tone, even slang.
I love a good movie marathon or a binge-watching session. But how do we turn passive viewing into active speaking practice? I'm all ears.
Active imitation. Pause a scene, repeat the dialogue out loud, paying attention not just to the words, but the emotions, facial expressions, rhythm of the speech.
So basically, we become actors for a few minutes, channeling our inner Meryl Streep. I can dig it. But isn't there a risk of sounding too robotic if we're just mimicking actors?
You're right. It's all about finding the right balance. Don't think of it as becoming a clone, but more like borrowing elements, finding your own natural, confident English voice.
Makes sense. What about those super fast talkers? Sometimes I feel like I need subtitles just to keep up.
Most streaming apps, like Netflix and YouTube, have that feature where you can slow down the playback speed.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's like subtitles for your ears.
Yeah.
And while we're on the topic of audio, what about podcasts and audiobooks? Are those good for speaking practice too?
Definitely. There's this technique called shadowing that's super effective.
Shadowing. Okay, you're going to have to elaborate on that one. It sounds kind of mysterious.
So as you're listening, try to repeat the phrases or sentences you hear almost simultaneously with the speaker.
So like, I'm their shadow trying to match their pace, their tone, everything.
Exactly. You might feel a step behind at first, but with practice, you start to anticipate the words, almost becoming one voice with the speaker.
Sounds intense. But I bet it really helps with fluency.
For sure. And it trains your pronunciation at the same time. Win-win.
Okay, I'm adding shadowing to my list of things to try. Now, what about language learning apps? I've dabbled with Duolingo, but I'm curious, what else is out there?
Oh, there are tons. We live in a digital age, you know? Language learning apps are a game changer. Duolingo is great for the basics, but there's also HelloTalk and Tandem.
What's so special about those?
They connect you with native English speakers.
So it's like having a virtual language partner.
Exactly. You can practice real conversations and, maybe even make some new friends along the way.
I love that. But what about those days when I don't feel like talking to another human? Are there any ways to practice speaking using technology, but without that, social pressure?
Have you tried talking to your voice assistant?
My voice assistant? You mean like Siri or Alexa?
Yep. Ask it questions, give it commands. It's a surprisingly effective way to practice.
They like low-pressure conversation practice, and they understand you, even if your pronunciation isn't perfect.
Exactly. It's all about making English a natural part of your daily routine. Now, this next one might sound a little awkward, but trust me, it's a game changer.
Okay, hit me with it. What's the secret weapon?
Record yourself speaking.
Wait, actually hit record and listen to myself talk? That sounds terrifying.
I know, right? It can feel a bit awkward at first, but it's the best way to pinpoint those areas you might need to improve, like pronunciation or grammar.
So it's like having a personalized feedback session, but the coach is, me.
Exactly. Plus, as you practice and record yourself over time, you can actually track your progress. It's incredibly motivating to hear how much you've improved.
Okay, you've convinced me. I'm going to give it a try. But you know me, I'm all about setting the scene for success. Any other creative ways to make our homes, more conducive to English speaking?
Visual cues. Imagine walking around your house and you see English labels everywhere. Refrigerator, mirror, window, everything.
So turn my house into a giant English dictionary. I like it.
Oh.
Time to stock up on sticky notes.
It's like a treasure hunt for vocabulary. And while you're at it, change your phone and computer settings to English.
Sneaky. It's like tricking my brain into thinking in English without even realizing it. Love it.
It might feel weird at first, but you get used to it quickly.
Okay, we've covered solo practice, tech tools. What about actually talking to people? My immediate circle isn't exactly overflowing with English speakers, so what are my options?
First, don't underestimate the people around you. Maybe you have friends or family members who speak some English. Ask them if they'd be up for chatting with you in English sometimes.
Right. Sometimes the best resources are right under our noses.
And if that's not an option, don't worry. The online world is your oyster. There are tons of online communities dedicated to language learning.
So I can connect with other learners from all over the world who are also, on this journey.
Exactly. It's like having a global support system. You can share tips, practice conversations, and motivate each other.
That sounds amazing. Do you have any specific recommendations for online communities?
Reddit has a great subreddit called War Language Learning, and there are tons of Facebook groups dedicated to English practice. And here's one you might not have thought of: virtual language exchange programs.
Virtual language exchange programs. Okay, what are those?
It's this really cool concept where you pair up with someone who wants to learn your native language, and in exchange, they help you with English.
So I get to be the expert in something while also learning something new. That's a win-win.
It is. It's a fantastic way to make friends, learn about other cultures, and get some valuable speaking practice.
This has been an eye-opening deep dive so far. So many practical tips and inspiring ideas. But before we get too carried away with all these strategies, let's take a step back and just breathe for a moment.
Good idea. It can be a lot to take in. Let's recap everything we've covered, shall we?
Yes. A recap would be great. I'm feeling inspired, but also a little overwhelmed of all these new ideas.
Okay, so we talked about creating a daily speaking routine, right?
Check. That's a must-do.
Then we explored how to use media to your advantage, like movies, TV shows, podcasts.
Definitely a fun way to learn.
We talked about those cool tech tools, language learning apps, voice assistants.
Those are game changers for sure.
And remember those creative ways to make your home environment more English-friendly.
Sticky notes and phone settings, here I come.
And finally, we explored ways to connect with other English speakers, online and offline.
So many options. I'm feeling empowered. And the best part is that all of these strategies, they're all doable from home. at your own pace, no pressure, no expensive classes.
You got it. It's all about taking control of your learning journey, making it your own.
I love that. It's about finding what works for you and creating your own personalized English learning adventure.
Absolutely. And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about progress, about enjoying the process, and about celebrating those small wins along the way.
So true. Speaking of celebrating wins, I'm curious, which of these strategies are you most excited to try out this week?
That's a tough one. Maybe I'll give that shadowing technique a go. It sounds like a fun challenge.
It is. And for our listeners, think about which of these strategies sparked your interest.
Yeah, which one's calling your name?
It could be something big, like joining an online language exchange program, or something small, like changing your phone settings to English.
The point is to just take action, to start incorporating English into your daily life in a way that feels fun and manageable.
Remember, even small steps can make a big difference over time. Consistency is key. And most importantly, don't forget to enjoy the process. Learning a new language is an adventure, so embrace the challenge, have fun with it, and celebrate every step of the way.
That's the spirit.
Well, folks, that's a wrap for part 1 of our deep dive into mastering English speaking at home.
Tune in next time as we explore more strategies, delve into the why behind language learning, and even take a peek into the future of English learning.
We'll see you then. Will it be trying out that mirror technique? Or finally giving shadowing a go? Or maybe even labeling everything in your house with sticky notes?
You know, it's funny because sometimes the simplest things can be the most effective.
So true. But before we dive into more tips and tricks, I think it's important to take a step back and ask ourselves a fundamental question.
Okay, I'm listening. What's the question?
Why? Why is speaking English fluently such a sought-after skill? What are the real-world benefits that go beyond, just checking a box on a resume?
That's such an important question. Sometimes we get so caught up in the how of learning that we forget to reflect on the why.
Exactly. So let's explore that for a moment. Why do people want to improve their English speaking skills? What are the driving forces behind this desire?
Well, for some people, it's all about career advancement.
Right. In today's globalized world, English is often seen as the language of business, technology, and international communication.
It's true. Being able to communicate effectively in English can open up so many doors professionally. Think about it. It can give you a competitive edge in the job market, allow you to collaborate with colleagues from around the world, and even pursue opportunities in other countries.
It's like having a passport to a whole new world of possibilities. But it's not just about work, is it?
Not at all. For others, it's about enhancing their travel experiences.
Oh, I can definitely relate to that. I remember when I first started traveling internationally, I felt so limited by my lack of English fluency. I relied heavily on phrase books and hand gestures, and I always felt like I was missing out on those authentic, spontaneous interactions.
It makes such a difference, doesn't it? Being able to speak the language allows you to truly connect with the local culture, have meaningful conversations, and create memories that you'll cherish forever.
It's like the difference between looking at a postcard and actually stepping into the picture.
Exactly. And then there's the personal growth aspect of language learning, which I think is often overlooked.
I couldn't agree more. Learning a new language, especially one as challenging as English, can be such a confidence booster.
It's like a workout for your brain, right? It challenges you to think differently, to step outside of your comfort zone, and to expand your horizons.
And it opens up a whole new world of literature, music, film, and art that you might not have had access to before.
It's amazing how learning a new language can change the way you see the world, how it can broaden your perspectives and deepen your understanding of other cultures.
So we've established that improving our English speaking skills can have a ripple effect across so many areas of our lives, from our careers to our travels to our personal growth. But let's be honest, learning new language, especially as an adult, can be tough. It can be intimidating, frustrating, and sometimes even downright discouraging.
You're not wrong. There are definitely moments when you hit those roadblocks, those times when you feel like you're not making any progress, or when you make a mistake and feel like everyone's judging you.
Exactly. I remember when I first started trying to speak English more fluently, I would get so self-conscious, I was terrified of making mistakes, and I would constantly overthink every word that came out of my mouth.
It's so common to feel that way. So many language learners struggle with perfectionism and the fear of making mistakes. But the truth is, making mistakes is an essential part of the learning process.
So how do we shift our mindset and embrace those inevitable stumbles along the way?
I think it's all about reframing our relationship with mistakes. Instead of viewing them as failures, we need to see them as valuable learning opportunities. Every mistake is a chance to learn, to adjust, and to improve.
It's like that saying, we learn more from our failures than from our successes.
Exactly. It's also important to remember that progress isn't always linear. There will be times when you feel like you're making great strides and times when you feel stuck. It's a journey, not a race. So be patient with yourself and celebrate those small wins along the way.
I love that analogy. It's about enjoying the journey, not just focusing on the destination.
And speaking of enjoying the journey, I think it's important to find ways to make the language learning process fun and engaging.
Yes. Sometimes it can feel like such a serious academic endeavor, like we're back in school cramming for a test.
It's easy to get bogged down in grammar rules and vocabulary lists. But remember, learning a language is about communication, connection, and creativity.
So how do we inject a little more fun and playfulness into our language learning routine?
Well, one of the best ways to make it more enjoyable is to find ways to connect your language learning goals with your passions. Think about the things you already love to do, and then find ways to incorporate English into those activities.
So, for example, if someone is passionate about cooking, they could watch cooking shows in English, or try reading recipes in English.
Exactly. Or if you're a music lover, start exploring English language music. Listen to the lyrics, try to sing along, maybe even join a choir or a band.
It's about finding those intersections between our passions and our language learning goals. It's about making it personal, making it relevant, making it meaningful.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to get creative and think outside the box. You could organize a themed movie night with friends where you watch an English language film together. Or how about hosting a potluck dinner where everyone brings a dish inspired by an English-speaking country?
I love those ideas. It's a chance to practice your English while also bonding with friends, trying new foods, and learning about different cultures. They're like a language and culinary adventure all rolled into one.
Exactly. And it's a great way to create a supportive and fun learning environment. And if you're more of a bookworm, you could start a book club where you discuss English language books with other learners.
These are all such great ideas. It's about finding ways to integrate English into our social lives, to make it a shared experience, not just a solitary pursuit.
You got it. And remember, learning a language is a journey, not a destination. It's about enjoying the process, embracing the challenges, and celebrating those small wins along the way.
Speaking of embracing challenges, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the future of English learning. With technology evolving at such a rapid pace, what trends do you see emerging in this space? What's got you excited?
Oh, that's a fascinating question. There's so much innovation happening in the world of language learning right now. It feels like we're on the cusp of a whole new era.
I completely agree. It's an exciting time to be a learner. What specific trends are you most intrigued by?
Well, one trend that's really gaining momentum is the use of artificial intelligence, AI, in language learning.
AI. It seems like AI is everywhere these days. I'm curious, how is it being used specifically for language learning?
We're seeing a surge in AI-powered language learning apps and platforms that offer personalized lessons, real-time feedback, and even virtual conversation partners. Imagine having a personal language tutor available 24/7, ready to help you practice whenever and wherever you want.
That's incredible. It sounds like AI has the potential to revolutionize the way we learn languages. But I have to ask, what about the human element of language learning? Will AI eventually replace the need for human interaction?
That's a question that a lot of people are asking, and it's a valid concern. But I believe that while AI can be a powerful tool for language learning, it can't replace the richness and complexity of human interaction.
I am inclined to agree. What is it about human interaction that makes it so irreplaceable, even in the age of AI?
Well, for one thing, language is more than just words and grammar rules. It's about culture, context, and the nuances of human expression. It's about understanding humor, tone, body language, and all those subtle cues that contribute to meaning.
I see your point. AI might be able to teach us the technical aspects of language, but it's through real-life conversations and interactions that we develop those essential communication skills.
Exactly. And let's not forget the emotional component of human connection. When we engage with other people, we create shared experiences, we build relationships, and we develop a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
There's a certain magic in those shared human experiences that AI, at least for now, can't quite replicate.
Absolutely. So while AI can certainly enhance the language learning experience, I don't think it will ever replace the need for human interaction.
AI is a tool, not a replacement. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what other trends are you seeing in the world of English learning that have you excited?
Another trend that's really gaining traction is the emphasis on immersive experiences. We're seeing more and more language learning programs that incorporate virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR technologies, to create simulated environments where learners can practice their skills in realistic settings.
Wow. So instead of just reading about ordering food at a restaurant, I could actually put on a VR headset and practice ordering food in a virtual restaurant with virtual customers and virtual waiters.
Exactly. Or you could find yourself in a virtual marketplace, haggling over prices, or in a virtual classroom, giving a presentation. The possibilities are endless.
That sounds incredibly engaging. It's like stepping into a video game where you can practice your English in a safe and supportive environment without the fear of making mistakes in real life.
It's about making language learning more interactive, more fun, and more memorable.
It's about blurring the lines between the real and virtual worlds. Are there any other trends you're following closely?
One that I find particularly interesting is the rise of microlearning.
Microlearning. I have to admit, I'm not familiar with that term. What exactly is microlearning?
It's all about breaking down learning into bite-sized chunks, short bursts of focused learning that can be easily integrated into your daily routine. Think 5-minute vocabulary lessons, quick grammar refreshers, or even just listening to a short podcast on your commute.
So instead of feeling overwhelmed by the idea of having to set aside hours for studying, we can sprinkle these little learning nuggets throughout our day.
Exactly. It's about making learning more accessible, more flexible, and more adaptable to our busy modern lives.
It's about fitting learning into those little pockets of downtime we have throughout the day. It's brilliant.
And what's great is that microlearning is perfect for the digital age. There are tons of apps and platforms that deliver these bite-sized lessons, quizzes, and activities right to your smartphone.
It's like having a language learning coach in your pocket at all times. So to recap, we're seeing these exciting trends like AI-powered learning, immersive experiences, and microlearning really shaking things up in the world of English language acquisition. It's an exciting time to be a learner, and it feels like the possibilities are endless.
It truly does. And with all these innovations, learning English is becoming more accessible, engaging, and personalized than ever before.
So with all these amazing trends on the horizon, I'm wondering, of all the tech tools and approaches we've discussed, which one sparks your curiosity the most? What are you most excited to explore further?
Ooh, that's a tough one. There are so many great options out there. But if I had to choose just one, I think I'd say immersive experiences. The idea of using VR and AR to create these incredibly realistic and engaging language learning environments really captures my imagination. It feels like the future of language learning.
I agree. It's a game changer. And for our listeners out there, which technology or approach sparked your interest the most?
Yeah, what are you most curious about? What are you excited to try?
Maybe it's the personalized feedback of an AI tutor, the adventure of exploring a virtual world, or the bite-sized learning approach of microlearning.
Whatever it is, remember that the most important thing is to find what works best for you and to embrace the journey with enthusiasm, curiosity, and a willingness to experiment.
So true. And don't forget to have fun along the way.
Exactly. After all, learning a language is an adventure, not a chore.
Well, folks, that's a wrap for part 2 of our deep dive into mastering English speaking at home.
Join us next time as we explore even more innovative strategies, delve into the deeper why behind language learning, and take a peek into the future of English learning.
See you then. It's exciting to think about all the possibilities. I'm already starting to imagine myself stepping into a virtual world, practicing my English with, like, virtual people, or maybe even having a conversation with an AI tutor who can tailor lessons to my specific needs.
I know, right? It's mind-blowing. But before we get too carried away with all the bells and whistles of these new technologies, let's take a step back for a second.
Yeah, good point. We don't want to lose sight of the bigger picture.
Exactly. Remember, technology is just a tool.
A tool. In what sense?
Well, it can help us learn more effectively, more efficiently, you know?
Right, it can amplify our efforts, make things more accessible, engaging.
But it's not a magic solution in itself.
So it's not about relying solely on technology.
No, not at all. The real magic happens when we combine these incredible tools with good old-fashioned hard work, you know?
Like putting in the effort, showing up consistently.
Exactly. Dedication, perseverance, and a genuine passion for the language, that's what really makes a difference.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where technology and human effort work together.
Absolutely. It's about using technology to enhance and support our learning journey, but not letting it overshadow the human element, the human connection that's at the heart of language learning.
I love that. It's about striking that balance, embracing the power of technology without losing sight of the importance of human connection, the joy of communication, the thrill of discovering a new language and culture.
Beautifully said. And remember, it's a journey, not a race.
Yeah, no need to pressure ourselves to be perfect overnight.
Embrace the ups and downs, the twists and turns.
Celebrate the small victories, those aha moments when a new word clicks into place or a conversation flows more smoothly.
And most importantly, remember that learning a language is a process, not a destination.
So true. It's about the journey, about the growth, about the constant evolution.
And it's a journey that can be incredibly rewarding, both personally and professionally.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. I've learned so much, and I'm feeling so inspired to continue my own English learning journey.
I'm so glad to hear that. It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you and our listeners.
Well, folks, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into mastering English speaking at home. We hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as we have.
We've covered a lot of ground, from practical tips and strategies to the deeper why behind language learning, and even a glimpse into the future of this ever-evolving field.
We encourage you to take what you've learned today and apply it to your own language learning adventure.
To experiment, explore, have fun, and don't be afraid to make mistakes along the way. Remember, every mistake is a learning opportunity.
To all our amazing listeners out there, keep practicing, keep believing in yourselves, and keep those language goals in sight.
We're cheering you on every step of the way.
Until next time, happy learning.